Do you know the feeling of setting an ambitious goal? You're all excited, you're all hyped up, and you fail. Anxiety, fear, stress, and overwhelm build up. And of course, there's always that pesky little voice of self doubt in your head telling you that you're not good enough, that you should learn more, etc. And what's even worse is that it's just one of several reasons why it may be hard for you to accomplish your goals. Let me show you briefly. Now, you have probably all heard it, just work hard and you will achieve all your goals. Now, while that saying is true, there are some problems along the line, as the one I mentioned earlier, and that is the fact that if your beliefs, your subconscious beliefs, and your mindset are not adjusted to deal with negative emotions, that means anxiety, stress, overwhelm, paralysis, whatever, then you will not be able to pull off your goals. You will not be able to put in the effort that you need in order to be successful long term. And in fact, procrastination is simply put the reason of negative emotions. So procrastination is caused by either the fact that you are too bored by the task that you should do, or it means that the task is so impactful, so big, that it causes anxiety and fear. And again, these negative emotions, boredom, anxiety, and fear, will then prevent you from actually taking action. I made an entire separate video about procrastination and how to adjust the challenge, skills, balance to deal with it. So I will link it for you guys in the comments. But that said, the second reason or the second thing that could be in the way of accomplishing your goals is the fact that goal intention, that means setting a goal, does not mean that you implement it. It does not mean that you actually achieve your goal. There are a few steps in between that we'll talk about in another video, in fact. And finally, there's of course this little thing called motivation. In other words, you need to be able to manage your motivation long term. That means you need to manage the release of dopamine in your brain. Again, dopamine is the neurochemical that is responsible for motivation. You need to manage it in a way that you actually stick with your goals long term. You don't want to get started and give up after 2 weeks. You want to get started and stick with it for months, for years to come. For example, your new strength training regimen or whatever else it is that you want to do. Ultimately, that is also another point that I will not directly discuss, but it's the fact that you also, of course, need to have effective habits. You need to be able to consistently have a work routine that allows you to accomplish your goals, or a workout routine. And of course, you want to have the time and task management skills that you need for productivity. And finally, as a flow coach myself, you of course want to have the ability to be deeply focused. You want to have deeply focused sessions in which you work on those tasks that get you closer to your goals without being distracted at this. So in other words, you want to be able to enter flow. Given all of those things, I came up with a 3-part goal accomplishment series. And what I will focus on today is the first aspect that I mentioned here, and that is how you can adjust your mindset in a way that you can deal with negative emotions, because dealing with negative emotions will then, of course, allow you to make more progress towards your goals and stay on track. That said, first and foremost, in this part 1 of the goal achievement series, of this 3-part series, I will give you the step-by-step formula for success to begin with. Because this formula, if you follow it, it will allow you to accomplish any goal, irrelevant of what it actually is. And if you're not certain about how to reach a goal, or if you get lost along the way, you can always come back to this simple formula, because the basics are key. And next, as it is the theme of part 1 of this series, we will cover one of the, if not the most important thing for success, and that is mindset. Now I will show you why reframing is such a powerful tool on a neurobiological level, because believe it or not, reframing actually affects and modulates the neurochemicals in your brain. So it's not just about the power of belief, or not just about wishful thinking, but reframing has actual biological effects. It makes actual changes in your brain. And finally, I will give you 3 powerful mindset reframes that will allow you to overcome negative emotions such as fear, anxiety, self-doubt, etc., to ensure that you accomplish your goals regardless. Now, if you're excited, please take a moment to smash those like and subscribe buttons so that we can build an army of high performance and neuroscience enthusiasts together. I would highly appreciate it. Now, my name is Nicholas. I'm a neuroscientist, dementia researcher, as well as a high performance and flow coach. And these are the 3 mindset shifts you need to set and actually accomplish your goals. As I mentioned in the beginning, the formula for success is in fact very simple. Now, first and foremost, you need to envision an overarching purpose. You want to have a why, in other words. And the reason behind that is that this multiple transformative purpose, as we call it at the Flow Research Collective, it will be your North Star. It will be your guiding anchor. It will show you the direction into which you go in life. And the point behind this thing is not to actually accomplish this goal, but the point is, again, to give you meaning and fulfillment behind the things that you do. Now, you might be thinking, why the hell would I do this? Why would I have such a dream? I'm not a dreamer. And fun fact, I was actually talking about this with one of my clients recently, and she was joking that it sounds a bit like La La Land, make the world a better place. And yes, that's the point. Because, for example, one of Simon Sinek's why statement is to inspire people to be more inspired to make the world a better place. My own MTP is to bring a drug for Alzheimer's disease into the clinic to beat Alzheimer's disease for good. And you could say, that sounds presumptuous, that is dreamy. But the point is, yes, it's supposed to be, because having this overarching big dream in your life, again, it will be your guiding anchor, it will be your North Star, and it will be the difference that makes the difference. Because most people, they just walk through life and they have no goals, they have no ambitions, they have no bigger meaning or purpose in life. They simply do what they do. But then there are those people that have big visions, visionists, they're leaders, those people who strive to make a big change in the world. And it has been shown over and over again in history that those people that have the biggest vision, that have the biggest dream, are also those that are the most successful. Now, next, that is that once you know what your big dream is, once you know what your why is, your bigger contribution impact that you make in the world, then you can map out goals. You can map out daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, etc. Just map out goals to get close to your dreams. And this will also give you it will give you the feeling of fulfillment, because now you know that you simply have to tick off this goal today, you have to tick off this goal next week, you have to tick off this goal next month, and by doing that, you know that you're in line with your bigger mission and purpose in life, and by doing that, you will gain the satisfaction, you will gain the fulfillment and meaning in your daily life that many people strive for. Finally, very important, take freaking action. You want to take massive action. And all you need to do so is to simply schedule activities in your calendar to accomplish your goals. For example, let's say you want to be a big author, you want to be a New York Times best-selling author. Perhaps to make a positive impact in the world, to educate the people about the environment, for example. In order to get the book out, you need to write it. So you can simply make your goals. Perhaps make a goal that today you want to finish a paragraph. It's just a single paragraph. Make a goal by the end of the month, you want to have chapter 2 done, etc. And what you can do is then, of course, ramp up your output over time. You maybe write 500 words today. Tomorrow you might write 550 words, so a little bit more. So simply take action. And of course, very importantly, monitor your progress. Because if you don't monitor your progress, how do you know? How do you know if you actually make progress towards your goals? How do you know if you get stuck? How do you know if you might even get worse? You don't know. So that is why you always need to monitor your progress. And it's best that if you have parameters, key performance indicators, KPIs in business, just have parameters that you look at. It could be money earned per month in your business, for example. I mean, if you earn less than last month, then something is going wrong, probably. And you should look into it. If you earn more than last month, awesome job, you're doing something right. And it could be strength in the gym. Do you get stuck? Do you actually get stronger? Very simple question. Then as a student, for example, you could track how many hours you learn per week. You could track if your grades get better, obvious choice, etc. So simply find some parameters that you can evaluate on a regular basis. And there's also something I recommend my clients, and that is that as you take action, make sure to look into the best practices. So what I recommend my clients and what I do myself is to have so-called curiosity time. So just setting aside 30 minutes a day in which you read, you watch videos, maybe you check out an article, whatever it is, just things that have to do with learning, with improving yourself. To give you an example, as a neuroscientist, I obviously have to write scientific publications, and the first time I did it, I had no clue how to do it. So I just kicked it off. I just started writing, and while I was writing, again, take massive action, guys. While I was writing, I was spending 30 minutes a day. So I was literally just watching YouTube video during dinner, basically. So I was spending that time to learn how to actually write good publications. Got my little notebook, wrote it down, and over time, I actually got good tips. I learned how to do it. And I was applying it immediately what I learned the next day as I was writing. And that's how I got my first publication out. And it went from there. So look into the best practices while you take action. And finally, very important, that's why you monitor your stuff in the beginning in the first place. If you get stuck, change. Change your approach. And very importantly, don't force it. If you get stuck, then it means that what you're doing is not working. The results that you have, the life that you have right now, in fact, is the results of what you have done. It's the result of your actions. And if you don't get the results that you want, then you need to change something. And just change, try new things until it works. And ideally, you of course also want to optimize things over time. For example, in the gym, if you train, you don't get stronger, change your workout routine. Maybe eat more. Maybe sleep longer. Just change something, check if it works, and depending on that, you can then make further changes, or if it works, awesome, keep going. Now on to the next step, that is, I've just given you the formula for success, but then again, there's still our emotions. There's still anxiety, fear, overwhelm, and all of these things in our way that can prevent us from taking action. They do in fact prevent us in the form of procrastination. And in this context, reframing is probably your most powerful tool. First and foremost, if you reframe a hard challenge or efforts in general into something beneficial for you, so if you change the way you look at it, then you can actually make it in a way that you can get dopamine from hardship. You can get dopamine from effort, from pushing harder. And again, this dopamine release in your brain can then motivate you. Again, sounds complicated, but to give you a simple example, let's say the gym. I actually had a friend and he despises going to the gym. I don't see him very often, in fact, and when I do in the gym, then he always talks about how much he hates coming there. He hates the feeling of just exerting itself. He hates going on the treadmill, etc. And he only does it in order to improve his health. I, on the other hand, I love pushing. I love going to the gym. I like the feeling that I get when I squat, so my legs get really sore. I love the feeling and I love pushing myself and squeezing out that last rep. And the difference is, guess what? I'm in the gym all the time. He, if I'm lucky, I actually meet him here and there, so he's not very consistent. And again, the difference is the dopamine. The difference is whether you get dopamine from training or not. I have reframed challenge into something that I love, that is beneficial for me. I love pushing myself, I love exerting myself, I love going to my limits, physical limits in the gym, and I love the feeling. I love getting stronger. My friend, on the other hand, he goes to the gym, he hates it, he dislikes it, he sees it as just something that he has to do. He doesn't get dopamine from it. And that's the difference. I get dopamine, he doesn't. I stay motivated, he doesn't. And the only difference is the way we look at it. The only difference is how we frame it. Very important, the second step is that dopamine, it doesn't only motivate you. Dopamine doesn't just motivate you and make things feel good, but it can actually be converted into norepinephrine and epinephrine. Now, for your information, epinephrine and adrenaline are the same, and the consequence is that you literally last longer. Because epinephrine or adrenaline, they are stress hormones. And what they do is that they increase your attention, they increase your push power, they increase your focus. So all of this dopamine that you get from reframing a challenge to something good, again, also increases the amount of epinephrine and adrenaline in your body. And it's even shown in athletes. Those athletes that have the highest level of adrenaline and epinephrine perform the best. And the same is true for mental work. So basically, dopamine can be converted into adrenaline to make you last longer. And finally, of course, very important, dopamine and norepinephrine, they're actually the entry key to flow. So flow is this extremely attentive, ultra focused, insanely productive, insanely creative, pleasurable, and even addictive state you can be in. The reason I became a flow coach is because, not just because I'm interested in neuroscience as a neuroscientist, but also because, again, flow is the ultimate brain state. Again, studies show that it increases meaning and fulfillment by 200%, increases productivity by 500%, etc. And I want to be extremely productive. I want to achieve my goals. I have big ambitions. In knowing that there's this ultimate brain state that you can be in, just makes me want to be in it. And trust me, flow feels incredible. And there's also a reason why I learned about it and why I coach all of my clients to get into flow more easily. Now on to the mindset shifts. There are three, in fact, that I want to give to you, and these are very general, but they will help you to deal with negative emotions along the way. And the first one is that you always must focus on making progress, no matter what. And it goes back to the idea of the growth mindset of Carol Dweck. In fact, it was coined by her. I will not go into detail here in this video. I did this in other videos. But the point is, you should always aim to improve. Always aim to be at least 1% better than you were yesterday. Just a little bit better every day. And focus on that and not on being the best or perfect, because those are pitfalls. In fact, often beliefs that hold you back. Because what will these thoughts do? If you want to be the best, then it will start comparing yourself. You feel insufficient, so that's where all of those negative emotions come from. If you want to be perfect, then you already set yourself up for success, because it's impossible to be perfect. You cannot be faultless, and even if you are, there's always a way to improve. And just having this thought, I must be perfect, especially when you do something for the first time. Can you be perfect when you do something for the first time? Probably not. So again, all of these thoughts, trying to be the best, trying to be perfect, they will actually hold you back. They will hinder you. But instead, if you focus on, I just want to be a little bit better than yesterday, and the next day you want to be a little bit better again and again and again and again and again, that is how you in fact become the best, ironically. So very important here is that you constantly move forward, just one step after another, and the next mini thing, and the next and the next and the next. And as you keep doing that over and over and over and over again, at some point you will look back and you will see that you have come very, very far. And finally, that is very important. It's part of the success formula, in fact, but you learn by doing. Try to learn by doing it. And don't learn by studying it. Because what you need to remember here in this case is it's actually a quote that I got from Jim Quick, and that's the fact that knowledge is useless without implementation. Simply put, you can learn all of the amazing things in the world. You can learn all of the productivity hacks in the world. You can learn time management, but if you don't do anything, then you will not produce results and you will not be better off than anyone else who doesn't know all of that stuff. And in fact, it can even make it worse to learn too much because there's something called information overwhelm. So it might be that you learn this good practice, the best practice here. You think that's awesome. And you learn the next and you're like, this is awesome. And you learn the next and you're like, this is cool, maybe you should try this. And you learn another approach. And what will happen is that you have all of this information in your brain and you will end up with decision fatigue. You will increase cognitive load because all that will happen is the question, what should I do? I have this method, I have this method, I have this. What should I actually do? You know what? Let's just study a little bit more. So you will procrastinate on actually doing the thing. You will procrastinate on actually taking action, and taking action is always the most important thing. So like I mentioned in the success formula, take action first. And while you take action, use your curiosity time, 30 minutes a day, to look into the best practices that you can then immediately apply. And then again, produce results. Because never forget, the fastest way to get ahead is to freaking get started, guys. Now, the next one, also related to success formula, is knowing thy why. So know the reason behind what you do. And in the context of mindset shift, it's very important that you focus on the contribution and the impact that you want to make in the world. And the reason I mention that is because I had a conversation with one of my friends at the Flow Research Collective. He wanted to bring flow to more people in the world, again, get more people into the state of peak performance to make a difference in the world. But there was just, again, this voice of doubt in his head. I mean, you probably know them all. I'm not good enough. I should learn more. I don't want to start yet. I think I'm not there yet. And that is exactly where focusing on your contribution and the impact you want to make will make things easier for you. Because I was thinking when he was telling me that, how do I actually deal with that? How do I with the thought I'm not good enough, I should learn more, I'm not ready yet to start? And the way I deal with it, in fact, again, is to focus on the positive impact I want to make on other people. I think about the fact that I want to help people. And I don't need to be the best in the world to do that. I don't need to be perfect. I'm not the best yet, by the way. Anyhow, jokes aside, the point here is that you simply focus on making a positive impact on others. You might not be the best, but you can still help others. Even if your advice is not the best, you can still help others. Even if you're not the best coach in the entire world, you can still help others. And that is the point behind this. Again, focus on the contribution and the impact that you want to make in the world. And you normally have much more efficiency and knowledge than you know. Before I even became a coach, I've optimized my personal high performance over multiple years. And we simply tend to forget that and to overlook that because of the negativity bias in our brain. We actually tend to focus more on our weaknesses than we do on our strengths. So just think about it. Think about your own story. I'm pretty sure you have many amazing things. You have many experiences. You have a lot of knowledge that you can teach others to help them, to support them. And there's also a lot of knowledge and skill that you can bring to your workplace, for example. So simply think about it and focus on the impact that you want to make. Focus on the contribution that you can bring in your job, in your personal life, and towards others. Another big point related to that is that comparison is the death of progress in general. Because all comparison will do is make you feel insufficient, it will make you feel depressed, and it might even make you feel jealous. Just think about it. Walk into the gym, you're a beginner, you squat the empty bar, and then you see the guy besides you who probably takes steroids and just loads 300 kilograms on his back, does it with ease, yeah, you feel weak in comparison. And this negative feeling, once again, will discourage you from taking action. So instead, focus on improving yourself. Focus on why you're doing it. Maybe you go to the gym to improve your health, to get rid of diabetes, for example, which is also a risk factor for dementia and brain disease. So definitely get rid of that. Maybe you want to go to the gym again to build some muscle mass, to be more attractive, to date the woman of your life. Whatever it is, just focus on yourself. Focus on being a little bit better every day. Again, lift that 1 or 2 kilograms more every time you go to the gym. Another big thing that comparison does is actually discourage you from bonding. It discourages you from making friends. Because you might be jealous. There might be this super amazing guy in the gym, super buff, super strong. You're like, this asshole, I want to be like him. But on the other hand, if you were to bond, if you were to make friends with this guy, then he might give you tips because this guy is buff as fuck, he's strong as fuck, and he might be able to give you this experience. He might be able to give you some tips, and that way you might be able to make faster progress. And finally, of course, see meaning in your struggles, see meaning in your challenge. So it will get hard at times. I have days when I don't feel like it, and I reframe those bad days as a way to improve my grit, to become mentally tougher, so that I can be at my best even when I'm at my worst. A great skill, in fact. And again, by reframing these hard challenges into something meaningful, into something positive for you, you get dopamine from it, and this dopamine will then allow you to keep going. Simply put, guys, work with purpose, work with a mission in mind. Know your why, and focus on why you're doing it. Focus on the contribution that you make. Focus on the impact that you have in your job, in your personal life, and on others. And finally, focus on curiosity. Because the advantage of curiosity is that it dissipates anxiety and fear. And it goes back to a conversation I had with my friend at the Flow Research Collective. Because again, I was thinking, how do I deal with the feeling of I'm not good enough to pull this off? And I go at it with curiosity. And it's something I recommend all of my clients as well. It's just the idea that what will happen? It's just the idea of gamifying things. The gamification concept, in fact, is very well known in neuroscience, and it has many positive effects. It can reduce depression. It can actually improve goal achievement. Many other beneficial aspects to it. Storytelling, because of the storytelling element of gamification, it can actually even improve memory recall. So there are many things, many benefits it has. And in general, it's simply the thought that, will it work? Let's find out. So once again, if you go with it with this mindset, it's completely different to going in with the thought of I'm not good enough. For example, you start there's a new business decision, a risky business decision, and you go in with fear. Think, oh God, if I mess this up, then I will lose all of my money, my business will crash, I will go bankrupt, I will lose everything I have. Or you could go with curiosity. You know, there's this business opportunity. I could invest and maybe I actually win something. Will it work? Let's find out. And this is just the difference of how it feels. Anxiety and fear versus curiosity, which can even cause excitement. Curiosity even releases dopamine in your brain to get you into flow and to keep you going. So there you have it. That aside, of course, there's also the gamification concept. I like to see it with levels. So maybe, let's say your ability to talk to women is on level 5. You're not very good at it. So you can tell yourself, all right, let's just have a go. There's a nice lady over there. Let's try talking to her. Let's try leveling up. If it doesn't work, whatever, just try again. Again, will it work? Let's find out. I might get rejected 9 times, but you know, it could work. Maybe the 10th time it actually works, and I score a date with a beautiful woman. So once again, will it work? You will find out. Now, in the context of setting and accomplishing your goals, And for those of you who are serious and who want to take the next step, I would be amiss if I wouldn't mention that I'm currently developing a neuroscience and psychology-backed high-performance course with coaching by me, whatever it takes style. And I plan to launch this course for a few selected individuals in January 2022, so in a month, for those of you who want to get to the next level, have a breakthrough, or live a new and more balanced life. And the application deadline, which includes a discount for those of you who inquire early, is the 28th of December, provided that there's still spots left. So just send me an email at nicholas.peterreich@gmail.com to secure your spot. And I'm not just saying this, the statistics are in fact shocking. Now, more precisely, the average person is, simply put, horribly ineffective. And what you see here, there's actually data that is derived from the Flow Research Collective. And what the statistics suggest is that the average person is chronically stressed out. And despite the fact that they are chronically stressed, the average person is very unproductive. Now, that said, the intent of the course is to turn you into an elite performer to make your goals a reality. And it is everything I have personally learned and that I teach as a high performance coach and as a neuroscientist. So in other words, is what I would have loved to know much earlier, and it is what I want to offer you to accelerate your success. Now, I will link you the article, everything you need to know in the video description. Just briefly, the 8-week course will allow you to find your passion and purpose, or your why, as your personal North Star in life, so that we can also, as a next step, map out your way to your dreams with crystal clear goals. So there will be no guesswork anymore. You feel happier and more fulfilled since you know the deeper meaning behind every task that you do every single day. And once you have gained clarity about what it is, what your mission is in life, which is what the vast majority of people actually never do, in fact, you will then acquire the elite performance skills that you need to accomplish your goals. And that includes adjusting your belief system, as well as optimizing your routine, diet, time, and task management for optimal and mental performance, optimal mental and physical performance, that is. Other aspects of the course will be that you learn state control. That means that you learn how to control your body language, how you feel, and how you act in real time. And in addition, you will also learn how to control your autonomic nervous system, so your level of arousal for stress resistance and for ideal alertness. That means you don't want to be too little or too sluggish that you cannot do your work effectively, and you also don't want to be so hyped up that you become anxious and focusing becomes troublesome. And finally, the last two modules, they will deal with how you get into flow, of course, or the zone. So that means that you want to get that 500% productivity and 430% creativity boost. And in addition, we will also optimize the dopamine and serotonin release in your brain for long-lasting motivation, drive, focus, and a feeling of satisfaction. And beware, this course is for serious individuals. So it's for those of you who desire to become the very best. And there's no need to be perfect. Again, that's a dangerous word. Because also the program is designed to make you better no matter where you start. However, if you're not ready to change, if you're not ready to put in the effort, then this course is not for you. And that concludes the video. So as always, thank you for your time and attention. And if you enjoyed the video and if you want to support the channel, please like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends and those who could benefit from it, so we can build an army of neuroscience and high performance enthusiasts together. I would strongly appreciate it. And now, after watching this video, you have now understood that you need to reframe your mindset and your perspective in a way that empowers you. If you see challenge as something desirable or something that you want to do for a deeper reason, for your why, then your brain begins to release dopamine as you start to tackle the hardships in front of you. And the dopamine in turn is mandatory to sustain your motivation and drive in the long term. Now, we also discussed 3 mindset reframes that you should incorporate to accomplish your goals. And these include, again, number one, to focus on making progress. So constantly move forward and constantly take the next mini step after mini step. Then two would be to know the why, or know the meaning behind the things that you do, instead of comparing yourself to others. And finally, let's find out. The let's find out approach. So go at it with curiosity, because this will allow you to dissipate anxiety and fear. That said, have a reframed week, high performance, and I will see you in the next video.